Gus. Yes, I'm so glad you're here. So glad you're here, brother. We got a lot to cover tonight, and it's specific to you before anybody gets here. I want you to pray about it. I want you to pray for guidance because I don't want to lead you astray, obviously. Let me ask you this. I was going to get to like kind of your specific situation later after I go through like defining what love is and such. Would you prefer that I get that part, like what you asked me the other day, kind of out of the way first? Hello, A1Z. And also, do you mind if I should I mention you or not mention you before anybody gets in here? Like, I've got a guy who asked the question. Let me know what you think. Josh. Hola, amigo. ¿Qué estás haciendo, güey? Get some more people invited here. This is going to be a message that is very specific and important to certain people and maybe not so much to others. It's relevant to everyone, but let me get these people invited here. I've got more and more people on this list, so okay, cool. Awesome. Well, I would just, I thought of you specifically, but I'll keep it ambiguous. I don't think the conspiracy guy is going to want to hear this message, but I'm going to invite him anyways. I'm inviting some people. If you guys don't mind getting some people in here, I think this is important. God willing, I'm able to word it correctly because, people have a lot of questions about this kind of thing. And like I said, it affects everybody. So I think we've kind of lost John Trump because he... that lady that he really likes, that I Bit the Apple, goes live like all day, every day. And so, Liz, hello. So, I think he has to decide between the two of us. And I think, she's on fire. I mean, I haven't watched a lot of it, but this story of the person who is lost and, is into demonology and whatever, and then gets saved miraculously is like, a lot of people are getting this having that same experience. So this is me multitasking. I'm stalling a little bit. Some more people invited here. I feel bad. I think I invite people multiple times. So, okay. Yeah, she's on all the time. And it's good. I mean, she's really growing the channel and praise God for her story. I mean, I think, Nicole, you have a very similar story and does, there's, because I interact or engage with that story, I guess the For You page, it just keeps popping up. And so a lot of young ladies just getting saved, pulled out of that demonic situation. Hello, Amanda. So this one's really important to me. Before we do it, I got to tell you guys something. I don't know if I look differently to you or not, but this is how I look. And apparently, because I don't know what I'm doing, I had this on. You ready for this? Like small chin effect was on my stupid face. Look at that. I'm like an alien gray. That was just on and I didn't know it. That's my normal. That's me. That's what it was doing. That's me. That's what it was doing. And for those of you like A10 who knew me in Denver, this is what I looked like. I was like, I'm so sick. And then now I've put on weight and I tried to get here. So like, every one of these lives I've done it with an imposter chin, like a D-chin implant, like a chin D-implant, whatever you'd say there. Chin reduction surgery. Who wants that? Like, I'm a guy. Like, I want to be like, right? Hey, guys. Hey, I can do this to my face for whatever reason. This is cute. This is a really good look. Ridiculous. Thanks, TikTok. I don't know. I don't look at my face enough to know that. Yeah, I wasn't on purpose. I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm 43. I got gray hair. I mean, whatever. It's funny. Hi, Carissa. Yeah, stupid. And the only reason because I don't know my face. I don't look at my face. I don't like to look at my face. Talking to this guy with the face. And so it was there, and I was editing a video for YouTube, the conversation with Alternate Media Brad, and no, it was 2 nights ago, and the trivia thing popped up, and I went and looked at it, and I'm like, what was that? And I took pictures, and it was like, yeah. So if you guys see me like, whatever, being an imposter face, just tell me. Come on, people, I'm trusting you for this. I'll turn this down a little bit. All right, so did you guys see the video I just made by chance about the Wigner thought experiment? Just trying to make a point in a minute. It's kind of bumbly and confused, but we're not in a real reality. Subjective reality is done. So, all right, cool. This is an important conversation. Like, I'm really hoping we can get people outside of our sphere in here. Zulu, I like your picture there, because this wisdom or this knowledge that I've aggregated is from a life of making bad decisions and being disobedient to God and being in toxic relationships and so on and so forth. And it's if I can get it out correctly, it's basically what I would tell my daughter. It's what I'm going to tell my son about love and what God intended versus what the world system is doing. And it's a big deal, because just like the propaganda that is everywhere, whether it's political, economic, medical, eugenics, the whole racism eugenics thing, or get the vaccine, or any number of things, like what we saw there during the election, like that whole thing. We're being lied to about love, and it's so deeply ingrained in our person that we're broken. Love is broken. What it means to be in a relationship is broken, and it's tragic because of what God intended versus what we're doing. The disparity is so great, it's irreconcilable. Hello, Faith. Not here long, going to hang out with a teacher friend. Okay. Yeah, I mean, go hang out with a teacher friend. And we'll just hang out without you, Zulu. Yeah, last night was awesome, though. It was really nice to talk to you. Hopefully everybody got to, get to know you a little bit better. So this happened because we've got a certain individual in our little clique, our little gang of info warriors, who asked me a question about sex outside of marriage. And I wanted to address it in a real life experience. What does God say? Hopefully, what does God say? What have I learned kind of way. So my wife and I made this really quick. My old band, Starting the Hearts, used to use this logo, and this was a broken heart, but it was also electricity, because if you know the story, a child's heart is growing in the womb as God uses microtubules to knit your child together in your womb. Like he said, at one point, the heart, I need to make a video on this, the heart gets to a level of formation, and then like an EKG, battery jumping, miraculous energy hits it, and the heart starts. And it starts and it beats until you die. And it happens in the womb. And it's this amazing quantum physical, miraculous thing that happens. So in our band, Starting the Hearts, we kind of played off the idea of when the heart started. And it's also a broken heart. So we're in a broken world. We're in a fallen world. And I know you guys know that. But I want to think about what love is. And I want to talk about what we're supposed to do. So I'm not going to get deep into what love is specifically, because that's defined by the user. But what I will tell you is it is a relationship that you can have with God. It's a relationship you can have with friends. It's a relationship you can have with your lover, your mate. In Greek, there's multiple words for this. We know this as Christians. There's phileo and agape, and English is kind of dumbed down, so you get like the word love. But love is complicated, and it's this deep feeling, sincere feeling that you have towards something, or something you love, something you like to eat, something you like to do, whatever. But what has happened is the version that God gave us to share with our partner has been circumvented or repurposed into this other thing. And, you know, we grow up under Disney movies, watching Disney movies. We grow up watching our parents, and they were broken, and they were raised watching Disney movies, and, you know, the precursors to romantic comedies, and they were probably doing it wrong. And then, you know, we watch MTV, and then we get this idea of this fairy tale storybook existence where, you know, every time you see the person, you just get washed over with this feeling, right? And there's music playing, and you love this person. And then we get addicted to that, and we just want to feel love. And that is fleeting. We know that, and I'll get more into it. But in the meantime, what love actually is so different from it that most people start to kind of experience love or whatever, and then they have kind of a bad experience, and then they go, you know, I don't feel love or whatever, and they bail on the person. They find out it's work or whatever, and they bail on the person. And then you end up in a situation where you're running around your whole life trying to find love. And what I'm trying to start with is how to define love. Love between a man and a woman is going to be a partnership. It's so important to understand that. If you're going to be on a football team or in a business situation, you're going to have a partner, and you're going to have to lean on these partners. You know, in baseball, there's a pitcher and a first baseman, all these different people. You know, you can't have 5 catchers. You got to have a catcher, a first baseman, a pitcher. You got to have all the different components. And what love is supposed to be is 2 individuals who bring complementary skill sets into a relationship, into a partnership, that they then forge and fight for and make work in a toxic world, fallen world system. We're in the most poisoned soil ever for you know, the beautiful plant that is, you know, falling in love and watching it grow into this big beautiful thing. The soil that we're in is totally toxic. And so what happens is, where in love you're supposed to give up some things. You know, you're supposed to sacrifice and not make it just about you. We're taught that you need to appease the flesh. You need to just do what feels good. You need to experience this satiation, this constant feeling of wellness, of goodness. You know, I'm getting this thing. And so when a relationship ends up being more work than that, with all the indoctrination that we've always had with, you know, there's more fish in the sea, and you're a princess, and, you know, you deserve, right? We're in this world system where you constantly think you deserve the thing. You deserve the snack after work, and you deserve a, you know, drink, and you deserve a this, and you deserve to take care of yourself, whatever. So you're thinking, I deserve all these things. And then you run into this situation where this partnership that you're in with this person is actually a challenge, and it's hard, right? And so instead of pressing into it and working hard, you just kind of think you're just gonna get away from it and find someone else that's gonna make it easier. And it's not how it's ever gonna work. If you have a job, you have to work every day. You know, if you're working in your garden, you gotta get your hands in the soil. You gotta pull the soil, you gotta pull weeds. You're constantly working. We're fighting entropy here. We're fighting in the algorithm of the universe that God created. The universe is designed to break things down and destroy things. And so even if it's like let's say a pure bashurta, like soulmate love, like this like really intense connection with someone, you're going to run into problems. And rather than us, you know, working through those problems, the programming says, bail, go find something better, right? Go find this thing. And then, you know, if you were fortunate like me to grow up watching Friends, and you watch all the promiscuity, and you watch them just exchanging partners here and here and here and there, you know, you get in this mindset of, I'm going to find this other person instead of making this thing work. And then what happens? Because you're a broken individual, and because probably what you were fighting about is either a deficiency that you had or your partner had, you don't work on that. You just gloss it over. You go on to the next person. And then guess what happens when you're working with the next person? The same thing surfaces, right? And turns out you've got a character deficiency, something that you need to improve in yourself, that if you did improve, you and this person could be happier, and you could be forging it with this person, right? So, I mean, all that's really basic. But this is going to sound super non-romantic, and I apologize, but love at the core level is a partnership. It's an agreement, okay? And when God set it up in the Bible as going into contract with someone, the rule was really simple. It was, you're going to get married young. You're going to not cheat on this person. You're going to take care of this person until you die, or you both die, or one of you dies, or whatever. And you're not going to get out when it gets hard. You know, you're not going to find some other girl or some other guy and go chase them around. You're going to make this work. And it's literally a covenant that you're supposed to be in with God and with your spouse. And you're supposed to fight for this thing and make it work. So that's the most simple idea of what love is, as far as like real mechanical version, not like all the ins and outs of emotion or whatever. But what we need to understand is that that's not what we were taught. If you were privileged enough to have a mother and a father who loved each other, loved themselves, were good to each other, and that was what was your model, that was what your version of love, because you learned so much from your parents, then you are fortunate, and thank God, and be really happy you saw that. And most likely you're going to have a good chance at like actually doing the same thing yourself, because you saw your parents selflessly love one another and make each other better. But most of us come from broken homes. So I was born in 77. I was raised, 80 to 94. That was like my formative years. And that was all of the people that were the parents at that point were born in like 40s, 50s. They went through the 60s. In the 70s was partying. 80s was about greed. We didn't know how bad it was, but almost all of my friends come from broken homes. And that's what they saw. They saw abuse and toxic relationships and fighting and this really dirty, gritty version of a relationship. Fighting, fist fighting, drinking, whatever. Like in my case, I'm sure in a lot of your cases as well. Okay, so we're not going to particularly learn from that how to love and how to be a good spouse or whatever. So where else do we go? Well, started with Saturday morning cartoons, after school shows. Remember Saved by the Bell? I mentioned Friends earlier. Disney movies. Disney is almost, there's very few things as evil and sinister as Disney, because it was intended. Walt Disney, who was a Freemason, he had a club called Club 33, and it was like, God only knows what was going on in there. He's got 666 in his signature, standard, like what we've been studying, standard, just Illuminati, satanic douche, right? That's who Walt Disney was. And the plan was, we are going to take these messages and hide them in cartoons, because cartoons are super innocent, right? You can't get more innocent than a cartoon, right? Yeah, you guys are saying a subliminal stuff, man. Exactly. All kind of subliminal stuff, like naked ladies and like phallic symbols. And I did a movie called The Princess Agenda on my YouTube, and I get into that a little bit. I mean, we could go into a whole conversation about Disney, but I'm trying to give an overview before I get into what a young person is to do today in 2021 to try to have a happy and successful life, and then pass that down. So parents don't know this, but Disney is intended to program and basically destroy the subconscious mind. Okay? Aleister Crowley, the great beast, I hate to say great beast, but that's what he called himself, the not so great beast, in his satanic doctrine, he wrote that a goal of their group, or good satanic group's goal, is to sexualize children before puberty. Okay? This is what they, I'm sure there's a manifesto and a mission statement, probably a CIA document. This was the intention of of Disney, was to sexualize and reprogram the brains of children. And to this day, don't say it. If you have it, don't say it. But I know a lot of Christians, I know a lot of people who think Disney is a safe space. I go to friends' houses and, my son and their kids are playing whatever, and somebody throws in The Lion King or whatever else. And I'm like, you guys do this, don't you? Oh yeah, Snow White and Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast. That's a gem, isn't it? Yeah, totally. Go nail the lion, dude. The chimera. Nephilim. It's great. Yeah, he's misunderstood. He's a beast, but it's okay. Little Mermaid, Nephilim, mermaid, siren. Yeah, sex object. I had sexual feelings for Ariel, for sure. I was 9, 10. I didn't really know why things were tingling or whatever, but I was like, yeah, she's fine. Sexy clamshell bra, whatever, right? This is what the children watch this, and it's in their brains. It's in their brains. Forever. Okay, so crappy home life. You're totally fortunate if you had a mother and father that loved each other and, it showed you a relationship that you could emulate. Amazing. But you probably didn't, or I won't say probably, but there's a good chance you didn't. And so, as kids in 1987, 94, you think anybody was talking about this? You think anybody was talking about what I'm talking with you about that you guys all know about? And the answer is no. It was pop in the VHS tape because it's wholesome entertainment. Okay. In that Disney movie phenomenon, they introduced everyone to the idea of the unattainable unicorn magical love. Okay? Which isn't a thing. It's not a thing. It's magic. It's magic. So if it is a thing, it's demonic. That's not to say you don't have strong feelings for your mate, because you should have a strong feeling for them. It should be a physiological, it turns out that, I'm compatible with this person. Do you guys know that the way that your brain registers somebody's body sense, their body odor, and if you're turned off by it or attracted to it, is the amazing complexity of your genome and your immune system deciphering if that person is a good physiologic match for you? That you literally, your brain, your supercomputer of your brain, can actually smell that they're a complementary genetic composition to you and will reproduce a healthy baby. Not every time. There's a lot of factors, of course. But, everybody wears perfume and cologne and we're all to mask that thing, right? But really, if you smell someone and you go, whoa, like there's like a pheromone, whatever. Yeah, I'm attracted to that person. That's like a physical thing. So you're supposed to feel that. And then I postulate to say, and I'm not trying to be anti-romance here. I'm sorry if it comes off that way, but you might also feel an organic, like lovey thing. But I hate to say this, what you're really trying to emulate or feel is what you felt when you watched the fictitious thing. When you watched that and there was the music and the lighting was right and all these things and you felt something, you're desperately trying to recreate that, right? And that's terrible because it was fake. It's magic. It's smoke and mirrors, right? But we all are guilty of wanting to feel love. I didn't feel anything. I held their hand. I didn't, whatever. And it's like, it's so far from what God had intended. It's a false version. There's something called a state of suspended disbelief. And the vast majority of children in the world are suffering from this. Grown adults are suffering from this. A certain mother-in-law from a certain situation in my life is almost 60 and she's still running around trying to find the bad boy with long hair and a motorcycle and a leather jacket who's good to her. Okay? She's single and almost 60 and she's still hell-bent, probably literally, on finding the bad boy who's good to her. Because at some formative point in her life, she saw that. Maybe it was the movie Labyrinth or Top Gun. I don't know. Some movie. She's like, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. And now think of this tragedy. You ready for this? This sucks. This sucks. Because we're built to worship ourself in this Luciferian satanic cabal propaganda system that we're in. And we're literally fixated on serving ourselves and appeasing our flesh, okay? In like a we're God kind of way. A lot of relationships, this is how broken this system is. A lot of relationships are an individual looking for a certain thing with another person. Hair color, eye color, they're in a band, they're a whatever, they're on a motorcycle, whatever it is. And you go through dating people looking for this guy or girl that meets your criteria, and then you engage in a relationship. And as long as that person checks the boxes that you are looking for and plays the role of the subconscious magic dream prince or princess that's in your head, then you are in the relationship and you're happy. But when the person turns out being their own actual person, like an individual with their own wants and desires, you're like, it's not what I signed up for. I wanted this thing and you're not that. Now I'm pissed off at you. And why can't you be like the thing I wanted you to be when I got in on this? Like it reminds me of The Wedding Singer when the bad girlfriend, not the Drew Barrymore one, but the bad girlfriend is like, well, I was in love with you, Adam Sandler. Remember, you'd be on the stage in your tights and you'd be singing, and now you're like a wedding singer. And he's like, so? She's like, you're just a wedding singer. He's like, what do you mean just a wedding singer? I love what I do. And like, she was with him, this is a fictitious, terrible example, because of the criteria that she was looking for, because of the weird childhood thing that she had that was put in there, going back to our conversation last night, before the age of 8, that tickled her fancy. Bad use of words there, and now like that's what she goes after for the rest of her life. And I know a 60-year-old woman, and she's not the only one. What I'm learning about reality is if there's one person, there's 1,000, there's 1,000,000, whatever. If it works on a small scale, it works on a big scale. If she's there, I'll just say there's 10 million women in America right now in her exact situation, right? So the version of this thing that you're chasing, that the prince kissed the frog and turns into a prince, or, the princess who's sleeping, whatever, is all contrived. It's not real. That girls, I love you. In this room, you're very special to God, but you're not princesses. And that's great. That's one of the things I like about you most. Who wants to hang out with a hoity-toity, rich, asshole princess? Not me. I've dated girls like that. And they suck. It's terrible. They're terrible. I'm going to the ball tonight. And where's my fancy shoes? And I'm going to be doing this thing. And I'm just, I'm rich and beautiful, so you should worship me. That's to hopefully wrap up the Disney thing, that's what the whole princess agenda is to teach little girls that they should be a princess, they should strive to be a princess. And a princess, by definition, is a royalty. You're born into being a princess. You can't, if you're not a princess, if you're not born into it, you're what's called a commoner. You can't, no matter what you do, you'll never be an actual princess. And the propaganda comes from the royal family trying to get little girls and little boys to worship them and serve them. And it's worked for like 1,000 years. Like, oh, they're the princess. God made them there, whatever. They're rich and famous. And look at it. I'm going to go to their wedding. I'm going to watch their wedding on TV, right? And you can't even be a princess. So if you're a parent and you're telling your little daughter she's a princess, I know what you mean. You're valued. You're a child of God. You have unlimited potential. If you work hard, you can be the best, whatever it is you want to be that there ever was. But a tiara and a fucking wand, and they run around going, I'm a princess. Like, shame on you. That sucks. I didn't mean to be such a mean person to say that, but you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. You were doing it wrong. If that's what you're going to do, and that's what you're going to, and what sucks is society has normalized that, right? Like, get your daughter the Disney movies, get her a little pink dressy frilly thing and a tiara and let her run around and think she's a princess. And then when you're like, you're not a princess, you got to go clean your room. She's like, what, gonna hit her magic wand at you and turn you into a frog? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's not what love is, okay? Love is a battlefield. I'm going to cheers to that. Yeah, you guys probably don't know that reference, but whatever. Love is a battlefield. And you got to be a soldier. You got to be a soldier. Because if you go to the battlefield with your fucking tiara and your wand, and you just go in there and you're like, don't kill me, I'm a princess, you're going to get blown up. They're going to shoot you in the stupid face with a cannon. It's not going to work. Like, soldier up. Like, you're a soldier. Yeah, warrior of Christ. Put on the armor. Take off the tiara and put on the armor. Put on the breastplate, right? Get your shield. This is a war. And if you don't treat it like a war, you're going to get killed out there. And everybody's dead. Everybody's already dead. I'm saying this to the 300-400 people that might come through here tonight, and imagine if we reached everybody that was here tonight and everybody believed me. That's 400 people, whatever. But unfortunately, thank you for saying that, Tamara. I appreciate that, Tamara. I don't know which way it is, but it's truth. It's something that God showed me, and He showed other people as well. But it fits into the bigger picture, right? If this is the version that they're giving you, with you're a princess, now go get them, then what's the real version? Because we've got a reality, where the counterfeiter, Lucifer, is counterfeiting and repurposing all of God's order and intentions. So what's the other version of that? What is a woman supposed to look like? What does Proverbs say about it? A woman that you want. My wife, Chloe, I almost cried thinking about this, is a saint. And it's an absolute miracle that my good Father in His mercy despite my best efforts to totally sabotage my entire reality, He put her in my life. And the last day that she shouldn't have worked, because it was way after the golf course had stopped having the beer cart girl come to work, and the guy that worked there, that managed the place that I used to work with, said, is she going to be there? And he was like, no, the beer cart's done for the year. I'm like, well, I'm never going to see her again. And then she called in and said, can I work today, being a good employee? And she did, and the rest is history, and God is good. But a woman is strong. I almost said stronger than a man, but it's different. They're equally strong in different ways. A woman can literally heal a man, physically heal a man with her words and her touch. I'm not saying sexually. I'm saying a back rub, a foot, whatever. I love you. Thank you for fighting for my family today. Thank you for this. She says that to me all the time. Thank you for going to work for my family when I was working full time. The ability to nourish him with, knowing how to use foods as medicine, and, is sensitive to her family and educates her child and teaches her child how to fear God and garden and, have a heart for men. And I mean, I'm not going to go into the whole LGBTQ thing, but it very quickly shows systemically where this all begins. And if you're this kind of woman that fears God, isn't squeaky clean, isn't going to church to impress everybody because you're an altar girl or singing the choir or whatever, but serving your husband, serving God, being this amazing, nurturing, home building, home protecting, emotional super force, right? Women, the emotional strength of a woman dwarfs the emotional strength of a man. And this is why we all have that friend who is in a terribly toxic relationship, and he's a broken guy, and the girl is a terrible person, and she controls him through psycho-emotional abuse, and he never leaves her 10, 20, 40 years, whatever. And it's a tragedy to me, because to me, if I'm the judge, which thank God I'm not, I would be just as critical of a woman using her emotional strength to abuse a man as a man using his emotional or physical strength to abuse a woman. And again, I'm not justifying either, but we live in a world where it's like these repurposed, subverted, broken girls adopt a princess mentality, and then they end up with a guy, and the guy's like, well, you're not a princess, and I want out, and she's like, you're not leaving, and I got you, and you're never leaving, no matter what you think or do or say. So, yeah, the Proverbs woman, I don't know what Proverbs number it is, but serving God, healing waters, restorative, champion. Women, you can be a champion. I'm talking about the kind of woman that in 3 generations they go, my great-grandma, X, whatever her name is, was the most dynamic, strongest woman I've ever seen. She could, a baby that was up here. There's a story of this lady that had like 13 kids, and one kid was sick, and they were like, the kid was hyperventilating and was going to die. And because she was from the old school and they didn't just go to the doctor for everything, and she grabbed the baby and threw the baby in the snow, and it shocked the baby because of the cold, and the baby got its breath back and lived. And like, this girl raised all these children and could garden and can and do all kind of crazy things, and she changed history. She changed history. She changed the history of her family. She changed the history of the families to come. People are still living residually off the strength of this woman who's been gone for 40 years. And that's what you want to be. Not a princess because you're so pretty that everybody worships you. Where in the hell did we get that? We're Christians, people. We're Christians. Where in the world do we get the idea that people should worship you because of how pretty you are? And how far is that from what God intended? Okay, I digress. It's a sad state. And guys, there is no pass for the guys here, because guys are just as bad, if not worse. And you want to know why? Because rather than committing to this young woman and saying, no matter what happens, I will not leave you until I die. I will fight till I die for you. Every guy's in and out. 1 foot in, 1 foot out, lukewarm, right? So the poor girl a girl shouldn't have to be worried about if the guy's going to be gone. The girl shouldn't be fixating on, I have to look really extra pretty because he's going to go to work today. And what if the other girl catches his attention and he leaves me? Because now what? Like, she's on her own? She's on her own in the wild? She's got kids? And what? You put on 10 pounds, or you didn't, this girl, whatever. Like, we all suck. Like, we're all blowing it. I didn't mean for this to be that negative, but it sucks. And I feel for God's heart, and I feel for all of us. This sucks, you guys. And we need out of it. And look, we're not going to change the world, right? You're not supposed to. Everybody said, Jesus, kill the Romans, get us out of here. And he's like, that's not what I'm doing here. Like, I'm going to die for your sins, and people are going to decide at their own fractal level if they want to apply that to eternity for themselves and live the way that I lived and the way that God says, whatever. So we're not going to fix the world. But as for me and my house, we serve God, right? As for me and my house, we're not doing Christmas. We're not going to give them that conflated idea of Santa and consumerism and pagan worship. We're not going to do Halloween. We're going to dress my sexy Halloween. Like, Halloween goes from like, oh, I'm like a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. And then at like 15, it's like, I'm sexy Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. And then at 20, you dress up like the devil and go get slammered somewhere. It's ridiculous. No Halloween. No Disney movies. Like, and look, this sounds like, squeaky. I'm not squeaky. You guys know I'm not squeaky clean. These are very simple things to do. You don't watch Disney. You don't let them watch Nickelodeon, really. Like, I tried to let my son watch, like, Curious George. That was a good show, and it wasn't, like, trying to sexualize children, which is good. But then, like, the show that would come on after that was whatever, Dinosaur Train or some terrible dinosaur thing. And it was always like 300 billion years and blah, blah, blah. Like, so you got to be careful. Like, we're careful with what we put in their mouths. You got to be careful what you put in their brains. And this comes down also, if you're parents now, love your wife. Love your husband. Don't cheat on them. Don't look for a back door Don't look for a way out. Don't just love her. Understand you're going to have disagreements, right? You're going to have disagreements. You're going to fight about some things because you're human, and try not to fight in front of your child. Hey, we're having a disagreement. We're going to talk about this later. Doesn't mean you don't fight. We're human. You're going to fight. But try and show your child, if you can show your child a healthy relationship model, their chances of doing it themselves are much greater. And granted, when I said earlier, 70s, 80s, 90s, nobody knew about any of this. We just all grew up as barters of this new world system, whatever, but we got to do better than that, right? So what you're supposed to be, men, women, keep your genitals in your pocket, in your pants, in your pockets. That'd be an impressive thing. Keep your genitals in your pants. Don't lust, don't stray. Try not to do those kind of things. That's like porn's a big thing. And that's really the issue with it is, adultering in your mind and trying to experience other people sexually or whatever. Like that's the bigger issue with that. So, don't do that as best you can. Don't, if you can't do it in front of your wife or whatever, or your husband, probably don't do it. It's an easy thing. That's not what I'm going to talk about. But I want to step back to what we actually do, okay? And this is a tough one, and this is specific to the conversation that I wanted to have with an individual. Let me look at a couple messages before I do this. Cast it, I like that. That's why real love is hard to find. People don't want to put in the work. Yeah. Real love is different than, true love, soulmates, or whatever. But yeah, real love is, being with that person when they're sick, being with understanding that that person is a human and not having them be your device, your accessory, right? You're not wearing them as an accessory. They're a real person. They have real feelings. And if you're able to do it and balance it out really well, you make each other stronger. You end up with an A-frame situation instead of just a pole that's going to fall over. But okay, I want to talk about sex a little bit, and I want to talk about marriage, because in this repurposing of reality, a major overlooked thing is what society has approved or pushes as what a marriage and what a wedding is supposed to look like. Okay. Right now, if you were in a position where you were, with a young woman or a young man and you were thinking about getting married, you'd have to go, well, I got to buy a ring, right? And that ring is going to be really expensive and totally worthless, by the way. I mean, we know about diamonds, right? Does everybody here know about diamonds? That they're totally intrinsically worthless? I hope you do. If not, I'll show you a video on that. Diamonds are worthless. Nothing in the Bible about getting your wife a $6,000 ring. It's garbage. It's all man-made propaganda. And what happens is you go, well, I really think I like this person. And I'm going to give Chloe some dirt here. Okay, let's take an interlude really fast, and then I'll get back into this, because I think it's a good time for a little intermission. Liz said she doesn't know about the diamond thing, so I'm going to show you two things here really quick. This one, for all of you who know how I feel about, physical materialism and the age of the universe, you're going to like this. This is a diamond commercial. Oh, I don't have the volume up. Hold on a second. All right. Turn off my light for story time. All right, we're going to talk about diamonds for a second, y'all. Oh, I kind of like this better. All right. What does this say? Before life, there was diamonds, or something like that. Right? Is that what it said? Let me look at that again. I can't read it backwards. Before there was life, there were diamonds. Right? There's the Big Bang. There's the whatever version of, there comes the water to the earth, or that's the moon or something. Because this is how it all happened. Science. Oh, the asteroid was on fire and it flew into the earth. And then in the, molten lava, whatever. Like, it ends up saying 300 million years ago, diamonds came into existence, and evolution's real and diamonds are important pretty much, right? It's ridiculous. Where does abiogenesis come in? I'm going to find another commercial. This is something that if you guys haven't seen, you guys probably know Adam Conaway. What is it called? Adam Knows Everything. Wedding, college humor. College humor. Here we go. Oh no, they took it down. Well, this might not work, you guys. If I can't find it here in the next like minute, I'll go on to this engagement. College humor. All right. Oh, this is Adam Ruins Everything. Oh, they must have taken it down. All right. Everybody needs to know this.
You've made me the happiest man in the world. Emily, will you marry me?
How sweet. You like it, so you're putting a ring on it. But have you ever wondered why we put diamond rings on things we like at all?
Oh, God. You're going to tell us the awful truth about engagement rings, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Hi, I'm Adam Conover.
Hey, Adam.
And you may think of the diamond engagement ring as a timeless symbol of love, but it turns out this ancient tradition was invented less than a century ago by the De Beers Diamond Corporation. Before the 1930s, nobody exchanged diamond rings when they got engaged. It wasn't a thing.
Apple, what do you say we get married?
Oh, that's a swell idea, Frank. What do you give me?
Well, I got the shiny red apple.
Sold. Oh, I love you, Frank.
But in 1938, the De Beers Diamond Cartel launched a massive ad campaign, claiming that the only way for a real man to show his love is with an expensive hunk of crystallized carbon. And we bought that shit.
Now, hold on. Looks like if I don't buy you one of these ring dealies, then I'm a tiny peck of pencil neck.
Well, it's on the side of a building, so it's gotta be true.
Well, crumbs.
In fact, every element of the traditional American engagement was designed to make more money for De Beers. How much you drop on that rock?
I don't know, like $4 grand.
Jesus, Louises, that's more than your car.
My dad said the rule was 2 months' salary.
Yeah, sorry, dude. That's not a rule. That's just an arbitrary number from an old De Beers ad campaign.
Buy her a diamond worth 1 month's salary. She'll be sure to love you eternally.
Profits are down. Better make it 2 months.
This has got to be the most successful ad campaign of all time. This is like if in 50 years people were going,
Oh, honey, the same thing again?
Yeah, you know that old rule. Pizza in the morning, pizza in the evening, pizza at supper time. When pizza's on a bagel, you must eat pizza all the time.
Well, it's not like I'm throwing my money away. I mean, at least the ring is worth something.
Yeah.
actually, diamonds are intrinsically worthless.
I refuse to believe that.
Well, maybe you believe De Beers chairman Nicky Oppenheimer, who once said, quote, diamonds are intrinsically worthless.
Shut up, shut up, shut up.
In fact, they're quite common. The only reason diamonds are even expensive is that De Beers has a global monopoly on diamond mining, and they artificially restrict the supply to jack the prices up. But in reality, those assholes have a fuck ton of them.
These are extremely rare. Pay no attention to that.
Which means that diamond you just blew your savings on has virtually no resale value. That's why De Beers wants you to think a diamond is forever. If you never try to sell it, you'll never figure out how badly you got fucked.
Fine, so what do we do about it?
Nothing. They've got us by the balls. A century of advertising has embedded the idea of a diamond engagement ring so deeply in our culture that even knowing all that doesn't get you out of buying an engagement ring. Seriously, give it a shot.
Okay. Emily, will you marry me? I'm not giving you a ring because the concept of engagement ring is a scam on the part of the De Beers Corporation. But we could open a joint checking account?
Sorry, dude. I want that rock.
Fuck! Well, thanks, man.
No problem. Join me next time on Adam
All right.
Knows Life's Greatest Pleasures when I'll be talking about how husbands
So,
only...
I read some of the comments in there, and I'm going to just show you how real all this is for us. Lights on. Okay, first thing, don't sell actually do sell your diamond if you can get money for it, great. But the big thing that I'm trying to stress here is don't buy another one. And I don't blame anybody for getting one. Excuse me. It's programming. Like, when I talk about programming, I'm not talking about, like, like influence. I'm talking about social engineering, socially constructing an entire population to be adherent. And let's look at what the diamond engagement and then the wedding accomplish, okay? I want to marry this girl. I can't give her a ring. I can't do this. I can't afford the ring. I've got to have this my sweet 16 engagement moment where it's just I blow her doors off, and she can get on Instagram and Facebook and everybody and just show everybody that she is a princess and that she had the best guy. So how many millions of guys won't even approach the idea with the girl because it's unattainable? It's unobtainium. It's made of unobtainium. That's what diamonds are, right? Somehow you make it through this hurdle of this perfect engagement, which it's always a letdown. Sorry, all engagements, all weddings are always letdowns. Now you got to plan the wedding, right? What's best case scenario? You can maybe get that done for 10 grand. What's the number with inflation now? 15 grand. What's the amount of money you're going to spend on a wedding? And it's 7 months, a year and a half from now. Unobtainium, you guys. This is unobtainium. So now, I think I love this girl. I can't ask her to marry me because I can't even possibly pull off this engagement bullshit. And then the wedding? Are you kidding me? People have to fly in from all around the world and everybody's all stuffy and then they all just get housed at the end of it and everybody goes home like, yeah, that wedding kind of sucked. Didn't the bride lot look great? And can you believe? Like, it's just this whole, it's like church. It's this whole social thing, right? Check this out. If you want me to Google it, I'll Google it. The more money you spend on a wedding, you ready for this one? And then you can tell me who's behind this bullshit. The more money you spend on a wedding, the less likely the marriage is to last. 100%. Oh, the irony of the Luciferian counterfeit system. The more money you spend on a wedding, the less likely your relationship is to last. Okay? Because Britt, that's exactly it. The marriage is superficial. Because, like I said earlier, you're not marrying the person, you're marrying the idea of the thing you thought you wanted that person most closely represents. And you're just having your fucking Disney life. You're just your whole, I'm a princess and I'm wearing this long gown and everybody's worshiping me and I have my moment and look at, I did it. I'm having, there you go. It's my birthday times 10. And maybe Nicole will talk about this. If birthdays come from satanic teaching and self-worship, where does this come from? It's from the pits of hell, people. And it's very effective. It's very effective. It's so effective that if the person that this message is intended for tries to propose to his woman who I think he's in love with and doesn't give her a $5,000 ring, it's going to be bad. And that fucking sucks. That pisses me off because it's not at all what God intended. Okay? Here's a secret. Chloe and I aren't married by the state, and we didn't have a wedding. You know why? Why do I care if the state says I'm married? What the hell does the state of Colorado have to do with my covenant with my wife and God? What? Why? Why does the state have to be involved? They don't. We were lied to. Like, my people die for lack of wisdom. This is what I'm talking about, people. My people die for lack of wisdom. Okay? The devil's been running this show for way too long, and we need out. We withdraw consent. As for me and my house, I serve God. And the wedding ring and the elaborate wedding aren't scripturally based. Now, I know the Jews have a beautiful wedding system, and I know the engagement. So there you go. Here we go. Person who may be in here who's thinking about proposing, why don't you invite this person to dinner? And why don't you pour a glass of wine and slide it in front of her, and if she drinks it, you're married. You're engaged. And then why don't you spend all the money you were going to spend on a wedding on a down payment on a house? Or go buy a house. Prepare a place for her. How about that? How about we follow the instruction manual? How about we follow what God says? People said, well, you got to have a wedding. No, I don't. Nope. You got to have it. Nope. I bought her a little engagement ring, and it's Hebrew, and it says, where you go, I will follow. And it was around $300. It was white gold. She didn't like actual gold. And, so I didn't spend $0 on it. And I proposed to her. We went to New York. And across from Manhattan is a beach called Sandy Hook Beach. And we had a picnic. And it was Asher, me, and her. And I asked her to marry me, and she accepted, and I gave her the ring. And then, we've always talked about doing a kind of more official wedding thing where we sign a contract. But we've prayed, and we believe that we're married in God's eyes because we're in the covenant with each other. We're in contract with God that we're going to be together until, God forbid, one of us dies. Or if one of us adulters, which we understand the rules of that. But yeah, people, it's not about what the state says. It's not about what society says. It's not about any of that. It's about a partnership with a broken man and a broken woman doing their best to salvage their existence as a partnership under God. And it's beautiful. And it's beautiful. And it's beautiful. And it's hard. Just like life, right? It's fine. It's fine that it's hard. But 1 foot in, 1 foot out, whatever. The whole thing's... We were sold a bill of goods, and it sucks. Thank you for saying that, Nicole. And again, when I said it's the beginning, this isn't some stuffy preacher guy who's like, get married young, and we'll do it in the church, and, we'll... It's nothing like that. It's a life... If it wasn't for God Almighty having mercy on me and lining Chloe and I up, I shudder to think of where I'd be right now. I wouldn't be in Maine having this conversation. I guarantee you that. So there is a level of this where it's God has to intervene. So what do we do, right? Let's talk about what we need to do. Number one thing is we have to recalibrate, right? I keep saying that. We have to recalibrate our soul on the Father. We have to make him the Lord of our life, you guys. I plead with you. He's not sitting there at church for an hour a week, okay? And you can only access him if you sing the right set of hymns and give 10% to the evangelical operation, whatever. He's here right now. He's here right now. And he loves you. And you need to make him the master of your life. The master. The ring said, where you go, I'll follow. Marry God. Okay? Get your house in order first. Because if you happen to find the person you're supposed to be with, and you're off in your own dumb shit plan, serving yourself, good luck. You're going to probably blow it. And, part of this, a good friend of mine who used to work for me was into drugs. He was a longtime bartender and had a lot of sex with a lot of women. And God gently called him through me a lot of times, not to have, hopefully this doesn't come across as hubris, but I've known that my calling is to go deep undercover and reach the person. And this guy, we used to party. And God had me preach to him in a, I'm sure, drunken state after a night of revelry or whatever. And it worked, like the seed landed, and God, wild conversion, strong Christian to this day, unbelievably successful businessman, and an amazing God-fearing Christian. But he came to me about a year, maybe 6 months after he was born again. And he said, Luke, what am I supposed to do? He goes, I can't masturbate, and women are crazy. So what do I do? And I said, dude, if God sent you this girl right now, you'd blow it. So keep working on yourself, and then on God's timing, you'll get this girl. And sure enough, she came in 6 months later. He was ready. They have 2 kids. Unbelievable story. So you calibrate yourself, right? God is my Lord. What does he need me to be? Not, if I look really pretty and everybody worships me, I'm going to have an awesome wedding and an awesome life. Like the antithesis to that, right? And then you should date people. Dating is a beautiful thing. And I have this whole diatribe on sex outside of marriage, which I may kind of get into. I might want to just make this a two-parter. When God, I'll try and cover it at least quickly. God isn't trying to manage what you do with your genitals. I can't stand that. God can't tell me what to do with my genitals. Why does God care if I... Right? That's not what this is about. Right? If you're a parent and you have rules for your child, it's for their good. Asher's getting that. Our son's starting to get that. He's like, wow, that's why you were saying that. Yeah. That's why we're saying to keep the door closed. Not because we're just trying to manage you, but because we leave the door open. We live in northern Maine, and now there's 1,000 bugs in here biting us while we sleep at night. It's like, wow, I should listen. You should listen. When you have sex outside of marriage, let's start with before marriage. Sex before marriage. You end up severely muddying the emotional waters, because the thing that is sex is designed by God as a very intense physical, emotional, spiritual bond. Beautifully designed. I can tell you this, we haven't gotten there yet, but there's quantum physics behind it. There's quantum health behind it. There's an exchange of DNA along with, whenever you have a body fluid exchange, right? You can give somebody herpes or whatever. You're exchanging DNA. Who knows what we're downloading to and receiving from that person in this simulated reality? Who knows? Who knows what you're giving them and what they're giving you? Okay? I can tell you in a creepy way that I remember after having sex with somebody that I wasn't married to, taking on a mannerism that I didn't know, and then I hung out with that person and their ex, and it was his mannerism. Explain that to me. And I was like, well, cool. I have like a part of you in me. That's great. And Jesus talks about that. Like, you become one with the prostitute. So God makes this rule of not having sex because you can date someone and really find out the important things. There's a few major things that we may get into here that you can really find out your compatibility, right? Where do I line up with this person? And you can do that without having sex. Now we live in, the brave new world, and promiscuity is your duty, and we're sexualized from children, and it's just, God can't tell me what to do with my genital. I just have sex and I do whatever I want to. I'm a little spoiled kid. So we have all this sex. It's supposed to be like this good thing for you. And then it's just like normal. Like, oh, you're a prude. You're not going to have sex. Well, can you imagine those of us that are old enough to have made the mistake of having shared this with other people, and now you're like a damaged, emotional, baggaged, sexual baggage person, whatever. Can you imagine if you would have met your other when you were a virgin and they were a virgin? Because I've got a really close friend, I keep calling him my good neighbor, and him and his wife were raised Christian, and they were virgins. And they're together on a level that you just can't be with somebody that you've, each had a dozen or half dozen partners or whatever it is. They don't have to worry about if, was this last girl that he had better, or, she doesn't have to worry about, he doesn't have to worry about, was the last guy that she was with bigger, or it's graphic, I'm sorry, but you don't have to worry about these things because it's one, and you're like, everybody's bad at sex, especially like at the beginning. I mean, I've made it a life goal of mine for whatever reason. I figured at one point to get better. I just got Chloe's the same. But you learn, you get sexually, you get better and better and better in theory as you get older. And imagine learning that with someone who's also a beginner, right? Imagine if you learn how to do that with someone who's also a beginner. And so you don't constantly you're not trying to impress this person. You just figure it out together, and it's organic, right? And you're just you grow together sexually. That would be amazing. No sexual baggage. Really hard to get an STD. If you aren't having sex with multiple people, right? You're just not going to. How easy is that? It's like these things, you're not going to get an STD. AIDS, herb, all it's gone. You don't have to worry about any of that. So you just wait, right? And then, look at how simple this is. You date people. You get to know them. You find out things like, are you totally worshiping money and you want to live in like a 10,000 square foot house with 7 Mercedes-Benz? Because if that's your worldview and I want to be minimalist and I want to not have a car payment, that's not going to work. But you can find that out by dating the person, right? You can find that out by dating the person. You could find out, you know what, if I want to homeschool my kid, and this person is like, no, you can't homeschool kids. Homeschool kids are weird. You can find that out without having sex, right? Is that true? Can you find out if you're philosophically aligned with someone before having sex? Like nowadays, it's like a handshake, right? It's like, hi, how are you? Let's have sex. Cool. We'll work out the rest later. No, you can date. And this is, I'm not saying this because I'm some squeaky clean evangelical. I know I got to quit saying that, but I was that guy. I was young, like, I'm going to do what I want to do, whatever. And I regret all of them. I repent of all of it. I repent of everything that happened. And I wish I would have not done those kinds of things. But you can really find out, and like, seriously, we should come up with a questionnaire. I'm sure there's one online. Like, here's one. Take a Myers-Briggs test. Have the girl you're dating take a Myers-Briggs test. Find out if the two Myers-Briggs, what would you call it? Classifications or personality profiles. Find out if they're a good match. Because if they're not a good match, it's probably not going to work. That doesn't mean I want anybody who's like trying to make their relationship work to do it and then go, oh, we're not going to make it. We can't make it work now because Luke said that. No. But these are things that you can do. You can find out that your personality profile and their personality profile are compatible. You can talk to them things about like, you know, would you want to buy furniture that we can't finance? Would you want to circumcise our child if we had? Where are you at with vaccines? That's a good one. I was dating a girl before Chloe, and she was very worldly, and she wasn't a Christian, and she was like, yeah, I would vaccinate my kid all the way through, and my kid would be in public education 100%. And I was like, that's not going to work. And my stupid brain, I was like, I'm going to make that work. I can make this work, right? Concessions. Probably because whatever, it's just stupid. So you find out if you and this person are actually compatible, right? You find out if you're compatible. And then you get to know them on a little bit more of an intimate level, you know, spending time with their family, whatever. And then when it looks promising, you marry the person. You marry the person and you don't look back. You go, we're compatible enough. Simple wedding, simple engagement. You know, that's a good one, right? Like I hate to say this, but if you're like seriously looking at this person and you go, you know what, philosophically, I don't see value in an engagement ring and a really expensive wedding, where are you at? Or you can even ask them first, do you want a really expensive wedding? And if you, hey, really quick, if you're the guy who just wants that too, you know, you want to get a really nice ring and you want your wife to walk around, you can show everybody, I got this ring for her because I'm so strong and I make so much money and I'm going to have the biggest wedding. She's never going to have seen anything great. If that's your passion and that's her passion, philosophically compatible, right? Here's one to talk about. I know this, I'm just throwing out ideas. Would you want to do a virginal bath? Virginal bath. Oh, would you want to do a birth canal birth? A vaginal birth, that was what I was trying to say. Or a C-section. Because some women are electing to do that now. And let's say you were like, you know, I really would want my superhero wife to try and have the baby vaginally. And she's like, no, I would never do that to that part of my body. And I'm just going to do a C-section. Right? Look, guys, these little things that I'm talking about have a much bigger application in your future relationship. You know, if you can't agree on, I want a $300 IKEA couch and she wants a $1,000, you know, whatever, super fancy furniture store couch, like that's not going to work particularly. Like if you want to drive around a beater because you don't want a car payment and she wants to have a Lamborghini, that's a big deal and you should probably talk about that. Like that's maybe she shouldn't need a Lamborghini, so maybe you can talk that through there, but there's just things. So let's just assume that you've gone through all these checks and balances and you've determined that you love her, you feel strongly for her, you know, you're attracted to her smell. I know that's ridiculous, but we talked about it earlier, and that's a sign of being genetically compatible. We're totally turned off by her smell. That's probably a problem. You know, you're in the same league as far as how you want to live your life. Do you want to make travel opportunity? Do you want to have kids? Some people get married and like the girl wants to have kids and the guy doesn't. That's one, right? You guys with me on that? Oh, I want to have, and you hear it all the time. How many friends do you have that the woman is saying, I've got to have this baby. I want to have a baby. And the guy's saying, dude, I never want to get her pregnant. That's a problem. That's a problem, you guys. That's a really simple thing, right? It's a really simple thing. I want to have children and I don't. Cool. Find someone who doesn't want to have a child with you and find someone who does want to have a child with you. Don't try and make it work because you've already shared some wildly intimate thing that you can't undo in your mind, and you stay with them because of that, which is why the rule is there, right? That's why the rule is there. And it's really, I hate to say it's simple, but it's really simple, guys. You make sure that you, and I'm not talking about tingling Disney love, but you love this person. You care about them. You want to be in their company. You love them in their sweatpants with their hair up. They don't have to be all dolled up all the time. You love them just sitting around on the couch watching, you know, whatever, Family Feud. You love them. You know they're going to make a great mother. You know that they're the kind of mother that's going to be philosophically aligned with what you want to do. You know this. And then, not even forever love. I see that. I mean, I wish, I mean, you don't know if it's forever. That's part of the Disney thing. It's not going to be like that. And it's, so Chloe and I got a little bit of dirt. Number one, initially she said she wanted a diamond, and you know, we talked it through, but initially that was something that she kind of wanted. And thank God she went from that to being the kind of woman who was okay with a simple ring. And, you know, so that doesn't mean that if, you know, the conversation you have is like, you know, oh, I have to have an engagement ring, I'm breaking it off. But, you know, are you flexible in that? Can I talk to you about it? Can I show you that video I just showed you? Can you whatever? But as we've aged, you know, she says really sweet things like, I'm not who I was when we first started dating when she was 21. And I tell her I love her more every day as she matures into this mother and amazing woman of God. What I wanted when I was, I want to say 25, but I was considerably older than that when I met her. But whatever, when I met her where I was at, I wanted a certain thing. Incorrectly, by the way, but I wanted a certain thing. And I'm telling her I don't want that anymore. I don't want, it should change. I don't want what you were when I met you. I want what you are now. I want to grow old with you, and I want to watch you change and, you know, morph into this beautiful thing. So you're not just chasing this thing that was. You're excited about the thing that is. And you know what I need from her now is what she is. She holds me together physically. She supports me. The reason we're doing Voice of Reasons is because she fought for me and said, I'm not going to let you die at your job. And I know you have a bigger calling and I'm going to make it happen. She made that. She made me better. Like, that's what you want. And it wasn't that when we first dated, we weren't thinking forever love. We were just young kids partying, being goofy, you know. So it doesn't have to be forever love to start. And it can definitely change. That's why I'm not trying to tell, you know, anybody you necessarily have to get out, but you have to look really seriously about this. You have to look really seriously about how you feel about the person and about if it's going to work long term. And really quick, I'm a big believer in thought exercises. If you think about this person 9 months pregnant with your baby, does it make you want to cry because you're happy? Or are you thinking, holy shit, what did I do? I can't, because I can tell you the girl that I was with before Chloe in a super psycho-abusive relationship for 10 years that I was in, if I'd have gotten her pregnant, it would have screwed up everybody's life. She was an alcoholic. She was abusive. It was terrible. And it was by the grace of God that didn't happen to me. I'm telling you guys this because of what I experienced, not because I'm squeaky clean. And if you can imagine that person as the mother and, watching her in your mind, educate your child, and that's what you see, then go for it. And get into contract with her in a simple way. Not expensive. Who fucking cares if everybody gets invited? We made waves when we did that. Make waves. Adam Conover says, you can't do anything about it. Well, you can. Because you can withdraw consent. Okay, you can withdraw consent. Get married. Get married quickly. You can get married in 3 months. You can get married in 1 day. You can go to the courthouse and get married. I don't suggest it. You don't have to wait 3 months or 6 months or 2 years. And if you only have to wait 3 months, you can probably wait to have sex with that person for 3 months. And then consummate the marriage. Okay? I'm going to answer these questions here and then or look at this feedback. And then I want to talk about consummation because it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. It's unconditional love, forever love. I mean, if you mean by that you're going to stay with him through thick and thin, then yeah. I think I agree with that. Let's see, my hubby gave me a promise ring. It got lost in the car by accident, and I realized it's not the small... Yeah. Let's see here. We love each other, but ultimately it's not a good environment to keep it simple. Oh, I'm sorry. Liz, I was going to catch up with some people that said, I wish I would have known this earlier. Yeah, Gus, seriously. I mean, man, I was 19, 24 years ago. You're going to live your entire life again and be 5 years younger than me. Think about that. And this is, I don't want to sound like some wise old man, but I'm talking to you from experience, man. Okay, Liz, I'm really sorry. I see some people I wish I would have had this knowledge. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. We didn't know this. We didn't, and I didn't. And it's by the grace of God that I'm in the situation that I'm in. God has been good to me. If you've gotten married to the person and it's a struggle, God did give us the ability. He gave us the exception of divorce. And that gets into the idea of being unequally yoked. And I mean, just the reality of it is, if you're unequally yoked, somebody's benefiting and somebody's hurting. It's the laws of physics. There's no such thing as the creation of energy. It just transfers forms. And so if you're down, that means they're up, whether you see it or not, and vice versa. And so, be prayerful about it. What sucks about it is if you have kids, that was going to be my next thing about sex outside of marriage when you're married. That was going to be my next rant. And it's just, you're gonna end, if you have sex outside of marriage, you've downloaded the virus onto your hardware, and it will be the end of your relationship. And what's tragic about that is if you have kids now, what do they see? A broken home, right? And you can't control when your wife, you get a divorce and now your wife starts dating guys, and a big molestation problem is stepdad, stepparents, that kind of thing, abuse, because now you bring in all of their baggage. So she's still broken, you're still broken, whoever you're dating is probably still broken, and it's just going to be a bad situation for the kids, which is again why God gave us these rules, right? He gave them to us for our good. Now think about this. Those of us in here talking about the regrets that we have. What if you wouldn't have had sex with that person? And what if you would have tried to really hammer out your compatibility and you had determined that it wasn't compatible and you hadn't had sex, and so it was a cleaner break? It's always going to be a cleaner break when you don't have that to it. And then you could have looked on. It could have been easier, right? And look, we all learn, and God is good, and God can redeem all of us. Like this isn't a death sentence for anybody. It's more of a preventative thing, and then what we do with it. Let me get caught up here really fast. Yeah, Liz. See, and that's the beautiful thing is like bad decisions can still bear good fruit and vice versa. Yeah, I mean, it makes me want to talk to the guy. Not that I could help, but, you know, it sucks. It sucks being unequally yoked. And, you know, it puts Christians in a really bad position. A couple other things. I was going to cover this earlier. You know, birth control. You don't need to be on birth control. You don't need to be on it if you're not having sex, unintended sex. You know, that when you point a loaded gun, you know, you could always go off. And, you know, we live in a society where it's like, yeah, we have sex for fun. It's like a recreational thing. Like, no, it was designed for reproduction. It's what it does. And birth control is really bad for women. Really bad for women. Abortion is really bad for women. Devastating. You know, so God's like, don't have sex until you are willing to just agree to be with that person for the rest of your life. And God's like, trust me, it's going to be better for everybody. Just wait. Find the person. Marry the person easily. Stay with them no matter what. Don't cheat on the person. Grow old together. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful system. But, you know, we screw it up. And you know what? I get so upset for what the world's done to our beautiful, sweet Father and the bad rap they give him. You know, the sky man and the fairy tale. They're so mean. And, you know, he gives us these rules for our good. You know, I use the bacon one a lot. God says don't eat bacon. It's not because he was like, ooh, bet you want to eat this tasty pig. You can't. It's because he made pigs to be garbage disposal units, and they don't sweat, so they're filled with toxins. God's like, don't eat them. And everybody's like, nah, I'm going to eat pig. Bunch of assholes we are. We just really are. All right, so, yeah, I'm not a couples counselor, so I'm sorry. My countenance has changed, seeing these, you know, these women that I care about in here suffering. It's tough, man. The world system is... My people die for lack of wisdom. It's just what it is. But I want to talk... I want to try... Yeah, Shy, I agree. So I want to try and end on a kind of a higher note because I bummed myself out. I'm bummed about this whole thing. Do you guys know about blood oaths and blood covenants and the shedding of blood to make a contract official? It's like you've heard about blood brothers, and you know, for the children of God, it was circumcision. So like when you got into covenant with God, you had to circumcise yourself. The males had to, and that was the shedding of blood. Right? Repeatedly in the Bible, when God institutes a contract, there's a shedding of blood. When Adam and Eve ate the apple, that started the new covenant, that the penalty for sin is death. And God killed an animal to make them vestures, to make them clothing. And obviously when Jesus died and started the new contract, the new covenant, saved by grace, there was the shedding of blood. Right? It's just a ceremonial thing. It's kind of old school, but God did it a lot. So now as it relates to marriage, the design physiologically of the woman is that she is equipped with a hymen. And what happens is you consummate the marriage and you go into contract with them. And the purpose of the hymen is God placed that there to have a blood covenant, consummation of the marriage. And it's this beautiful thing where it's like, I'm going to marry this person and I'm going to spend the rest of my life with them, and you're a virgin and they're a virgin. And in this act of this beautiful first sexual experience, there's the shedding of blood. And God designed that because God is real. And it's a beautiful I can't even imagine. I can tell you I've never had that experience. And, you know, I feel really, you know, honest to God, if I know Chloe and I would both, if we could go back and be virgins, we would. And, we, you know, we would have been able to consummate the marriage. And, you know, there's no evolutionary explanation for the hymen. There's no, I've looked it up. There's no, they can't, think about it. Think about that. Why in the world would proto-Eve, mitochondrial Eve, why would she have had to evolve a hymen that was destroyed in order for her to reproduce? Man, evolution pisses me off. God made the hymen because God is real, and it was for the contract and consummating the contract of marriage, and it's beautiful. And I'm really glad for anybody that got to experience that. It's beautiful. Yeah. It's beautiful, you guys. God is real. God knows when he made the rules. He knew what he was talking about because he made this. And he loves us, you know, and people are mad at him because they're shitty people or they had a bad experience or whatever. It sucks. So let's defend our Father. Let's try and follow his rules because they're good for us, right? Let's follow his rules because he's good and we can trust him that it's good for us. That's why we were having the discussion about Torah. You know, I don't want to become some Hebrew roots, super squeaky clean, because you can become religious just like that, right? That's how the Jews get in a lot of trouble because they're so religious. They're look at how impressive we are, God. We're amazing. No, you're not. But like the things that Brad was saying about being adopted into the family and, you know, trying to be a good guest and make, you know, your family not hate you for being just some outsider who does whatever they want. You know, it's a beautiful thing. So it's something to think about. You know, a Sabbath is a good step for us. I told Chloe today that we just can't buy bacon anymore. We both love bacon. We eat it like once a week or whatever, but like little things, right? Like what he said was so cool. Start with the Sabbath and let God work from there. And that's the thing. I don't want to be, I don't say I don't want to be, but I'm not in it to be impressively serving God. But I just know that his rules are for our good and he's trustworthy. All right. Yeah, you can't fool God. I love that, Amanda. Yeah. Look at how holy I am. He's like, no, I eat turkey bacon. Yeah, so did we. But like, and what happened? Because we, like, it's like low-hanging fruit, right? Let's not eat bacon anymore. It's fine. And we didn't eat bacon. And then, like, I remember, whatever, however many months ago, it was like, should we get a bacon? And we're like, yeah, it's so good. You get it, like, really crispy. You're like, it's so good. I'm eating the bacon. And then it just kind of, we developed it. And it's not going to be like a lament to not eat bacon, but it's just a little thing, right? Like, don't eat bacon. Honor God when nobody's looking, right? That's the idea. But yeah, turkey bacon's good. Do I ever fast? Britt, I'm trying. I've been doing the 1 meal a day. Not 1 meal a day, but eating from, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then not eating the rest of it. With the digestive stuff I've had, it's been kind of hard to make it happen. But I'm trying, and I want to get back to it. And it's good, and it's for our good, not for God's. But yeah, I would like to get back to that. I think it's a good idea to fast. And I made a video on it. Yet another thing that God told us to do that, like, everybody's like, I don't want to fast. I want to eat every day, all day. And God's like, all right, be good for you. Yeah, it's mostly the salt. Yeah, we should just put a lot of salt. Yeah, the problem with the smoothies, and Chloe can attest to this, I know my digestion's getting better, but I could drink a smoothie and then pass out. Like raw fruits and veggies, my body just has a really hard time processing them. But that's an excuse. I could figure something out. I grew up keeping the Sabbath and keeping the kosher laws and had to move far away from that. Like, geographically move far away from that? Or just in general? Let's see if you looked into the creation of breakfast cereals by... I haven't, Gus. Yeah, no, it's not my body detoxing. It was, I had severe leaky gut, and God gut dysbiosis, and if you look at like FODMAP, anything, broccolis, spinach, all that stuff was really hard to digest. But it's getting better, and I need to get back to that for sure. I'm trying. I need to do it. Let's see here. Yeah, so this is Jen. I grew up keeping Sabbath and the kosher laws and had to move far away from that. I'm not sure what that means specifically, but I bet it's hard. And, if you're a Christian and you are like, yeah, I don't have to do it anymore, I get it. I do. And I'm certainly not trying to condemn anybody. I'm more trying to figure out what I want to do, what me and my family are going to do. And I haven't kept the Torah in any kind of substantial way other than Sabbath. So I definitely can't speak to it. And I'm so anti-religion and order, being told what to do, that I could see me at one point going, this is too much for me. So I get that too. And I don't think it's a salvation issue. I think you're saved by grace. I think you're saved by what Yeshua did. But Brad, that's why I wanted to have him on. It was a really good discussion, and he really made me think about a lot of that. Thank you, Shai. I appreciate it. Yeah. Oh, for sure. I think he was a Mennonite, the Kellogg guy, but he was super evil. Cold cereal, as we know, it was created to reduce sexual urges in the youth. Huh. Oh, yeah, because he was a Mennonite, right? Yeah, that's right. I heard about that. For sure, Jen. And I totally get that. 100%. Hopefully you heard me say that. The Jews get in trouble for that. I don't want to be Torah observant Hebrew roots, because I get that. And it's it ends up being like a do-gooders club, right? I'm more holy than you. Did you eat bacon? And it just becomes this religious thing, which I totally get. And that's why I wanted to talk to him about it. And I'm not going to sit here and say, everybody go observe Torah. I'm not. But is there a balance? Is there a way to do it where, the rules are for your good and you do them in a, disciplined kind of positive way where you honor God and he blesses you? Possibly. I don't know. It's a theory right now for me. I'm trying to not eat bacon. That's where I'm at. But I totally get that cultish church kind of thing. And I mean, that's I don't know if you've been on here very much, but I'm very much anti organized religion. Whether it's because I'm uncoachable or because it's a flawed human system. I definitely don't. I mean, you can take any religious idea, any trying to serve God, any of that to absurdum, and just start worshiping yourself because of how amazing you are. But like we talked about, the pagan, where do you draw the line, right? Some pagan festivals, all pagan festivals, no pagan festivals, having a Sabbath but not on Saturday. I would trust every person. I don't want to condemn anybody, that's for sure, and go, you gotta be a blah, blah, blah. No, you're saved by grace, for sure. And, God knows your heart, right? So if you're trying to impress him by being holy, you're not going to. But that doesn't mean, it's complicated, right? And that's why I'm trying to, that's why I had Brad on. I'm trying to figure it out too. Jesus says, did I make the man for Sabbath, or did I make Sabbath for man? And, obviously he made it for us. So that's the idea for us, is an opportunity to serve God and, try to, rest with him. And we haven't taken it much further than that. And I don't know if we will, but we're thinking bacon is the next thing. But yeah, it's there's 10 commandments, right? And they're good ones. Love God, don't love any other gods, rest on Sabbath, don't cheat on your wife, don't try and steal your neighbor's stuff, don't lie, don't kill, don't, it's really, really good life stuff. And I assume the other ones are as well, but where you cut your hair and how you put the fat on the thing, and it's, where do you end? Where does it end? And the truth is, not the truth is, but it's my belief that it ended at the cross. God knew that what they were doing wasn't sustainable, and so Yeshua came down as a perfect sacrificial lamb, born of a virgin, died on the cross, was resurrected from the dead, beat death, and took our sins with him, and that's how we're saved. So the rest of it, it's especially if it can be sharing best practices is my idea, right? Not a condemnation or a thus saith the Lord. Just trying to figure it out. And I sure trust you guys and the guests that I've had on way more than, let's see here, 49 messages. Wow, I hit a vein here. Heart matter. I'm going to go to the bottom here real quick. No meat at all detox. See, that fruit and veggie detox, you could ask Chloe. I don't think that would go very well. Yeah, new covenant with people. Yep. Ah, I love that, Chloe. Yeah, where are your videos, Gus? Get some videos out and we'll talk about it, and then I'll have you on and we'll talk about health. Yeah, Nicole is having issues too, and she probably knows that. She might have said something like that. My eczema is very much affected by what I eat. Yeah, and it's multifactorial, right? Like, it's not just food. I mean, after my functional medicine test and finding out that I was allergic to basically every food that I'd ever eaten, Chloe put me on a fish and turnip diet, and it was the healthiest I'd ever eaten for months and months and months, and I lost a ton of weight, and I looked terrible, and I felt terrible. And then, we came up here, and I just tried to let go of anxiety and a lot of the fears. And, I hate to say it, but I'm even eating McDonald's here and there. I know that's like the devil's lettuce, but I just don't want to be afraid of food anymore. And I want to trust God. And it's multifactorial. It's your head, your mindset, your food, your diet, your exercise. There's a lot to it. And it's kind of like being overly religious. You can take diet to absurdum. And there's a balance, and the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. Knox, wow. Yeah, Hashimoto's. Yeah, I didn't get diagnosed, but I know whatever this has been is in the Hashimoto's, autoimmune, fibromyalgia. It's in something like that. So it's a challenge. And some of it is you're going to be able to work through it with diet, and you're also going to have to, mindset is huge, placebo. And, what happened to me is, you have this unsustainable situation in your life. It could be any trauma, tragedy, abusive, toxic thing. And you go through it mentally, emotionally, and you feel it, you know it, but you're not sure. You didn't really know it physically. It was aggregating. And as it aggregates, you hit a tipping point. And then when it shows up as an illness, you've gone too far. And so, detoxing, not just food and diet, but is it your job? Is it a relationship? Are you living too close to a high, EMF outputting electric line? Is there something in the water? Is there mold? Like there's a toxin, and trying to figure out what the toxin is. A lot of people, it's complicated. Guys like Gus, I'm really trying to encourage him I think he's got a calling and an anointing in health. And, these new things, these, autoimmune things, these digestive things, something that humankind didn't know about 30, 50, 100 years ago. And now it's all the rage, and we need to figure it out. And it's multifactorial, and it's going to be, a multiple answer kind of thing. Yeah, cut out inflammation is good. I saw a video, speaking to inflammation, I saw a girl the other day, because, any of us that have had inflammatory issues, you're so afraid of inflammation. Like, the headache that I have off and on that I've had for, it'll be totally gone. It'll come back. It'll be totally gone. It's in a similar place. It kind of moves around. It's inflammation. It's somehow attacking muscular or whatever. And you get afraid of inflammation, and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to get inflamed. And your autonomic system takes over, whatever. I saw a girl make a video the other day, and she goes, inflammation is your friend, because your body is found something and it's healing it, and, stop thinking of it as the enemy. And I remember going, wow, I would love to not fear inflammation and do everything I can to not have inflammation. I don't know which of those two is true. Truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Sometimes inflammation is good for you because your body's healing, and other times it's over the top because your immune system is on the fritz. But, yeah, whatever. Liz, all I could eat was smoked meat with no flavor. That's awesome that you figured out what it was. It went in for about half a year, yeah. Honey a lot is good. That's cool you're doing that. Especially good organic honey. It's beautiful. No seed oils. Yeah, oils are good. Born without a thyroid. Interesting. Now we talking about health. Yeah, Faith, I need to go to bed too. Thank you for being here, Faith. Spray oil. Yeah, how about people that spray on sunscreen? I was at the park the other day, and this dad was like just coating his son with the most chemical smelling thing ever. And he's like this little guy, and they're in Maine. Like, you can't get sunburned up here. You're not gonna get sunburned in a half an hour playing at the park. He's just like coating his son. All right. Acts 10:9. I'll have to look at that. Yeah, it's tough, the health thing, but we're starting to figure it out. No sunscreen for me. I use a shea butter. Yeah. All right, guys. I think I'm going to be done. Gus, if you want to talk more about this, let's talk over the phone. I want you to make an awesome decision and honor God. You thought sunscreen was good. Let's talk about that really quick. That's important. I assume that's a legitimate question. So, yeah, sunscreen isn't good. Nope. There is some sunscreen, like there's like a heavy zinc paste that's like just mineral. That's like so. But yeah, most sunscreen has all the bad ones. Parabens, BPA, the spray ones, xenoestrogens. It's a chemical concoction. It's a nightmare. And then you put it on your skin, and then the sun bakes it in like a kiln. Everybody's like, oh, skin cancer. Probably a part of it. So, yeah, do some research on sunscreen. There's got to be good sunscreen that you can use. There's good sunscreen you can use that's not going to kill you. But also, the sun is good. Pretty much everybody's vitamin D deficient. Like, you know what? It's okay to look older. If your skin, like my skin's older. I'm 43. I played a lot of golf in the sun, but I wasn't vitamin D deficient. Don't spend your whole life out there getting baked, but yeah, shea butter, like a good organic coconut oil, something like that to just give you a little bit of protection. And then, spend an hour in the sun, build up a tan, and the sun isn't the enemy. That, the devil is making that thing. The sun is the enemy. You're dying of it. Yeah, no, the disease is multifactorial. It's not just from being in the sun. Yeah, unrefined coconut oil. And zinc, yeah. It's got to be natural, you guys. If you're going to use sunscreen, it's got to be organic, natural. Zinc is good. Yeah, the coconut oil. Yep, and then, like if you're going to go to the beach, sit under an umbrella and only have X amount of time of like actual exposure. I mean, dude, if you're going to spend 5 hours outside, you're probably going to get burned. But if you just put a little bit of, something good on there, some zinc or whatever. Yeah, but really do some research on that. You got to do some research on the sunscreen. Don't you buy copper tone. Don't you buy any of that nonsense. Don't buy the spray stuff. It's just all chemical death. Terrible. 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 Like Disney movies and engagement rings. And weddings. Terrible. All right, guys. I'm tired. Thank you. Tomorrow should be Thursday Night in the Matrix with Kai. Talking about the simulation hypothesis. I haven't confirmed with him. But if he doesn't do it, I might take a night off. We'll see. But for now, plan on doing a simulation talk with Kai tomorrow. Love you guys. Thank you for the awesome night. Appreciate you. Watch the new video if you can. Let me know what you think. Obviously, I would love it if you could support it. It's quick worded, but I think it's kind of a cool thing. Reality is an illusion, and science is proving that. So, last two videos, the Earth is the center of the universe, and reality is an illusion. We're building a story here. All right, guys. Love you. Thank you. God bless you. End transmission.